friends, my name is Stan. Welcome to Awesome Possum channel. I'd like to introduce you to another hobby of mine. If you've been to my channel before, you know I'm uploading different reviews on games as well as playthroughs, and I'm trying to make them as entertaining for you as I can. Lately I've been actually making some changes to my channel to make it look a little better. Some of them didn't take yet for some reason, but I wanted to start this video here to sort of tell you guys who, especially for people who enjoy watching YouTube videos as much as I do, that there's quite a bit of work involved in creating the content, especially original content. So bear with me, and if you do share my views, or if you like my channel, I would really appreciate if you'd like my videos and put your comments, as well as subscribe if you want to see more. Other than that, what I wanted to share with you guys today is my other passion, a passion other than video games, and that actually is a lot more to me than video games, and that is motorcycling. I have had a license for 4 years now, and I guess I should backtrack a tiny little bit. I live in Toronto, Canada, and in Toronto we have, well, in Canada in general, we have quite a few bikes that apparently are only available in Europe, but in general are not available in the US. And I've learned that once I started sharing some of my information, and started doing a little bit of research after I got my first bike. And the first bike was exactly what you're looking at on the screen right now. It's a 2009 Honda CBR 125R. These pictures are not exactly of the bike that I had. I had a little bit different color. It was all red for me. I think the tank was a little bit of black. It looks very similar to what I had. So let's see if I can scroll through some of these pictures. This site is a little slow, so I apologize. I mean, you get the idea basically. Mine was just like the previous picture, sort of black and red. It was a fun little bike. I can't complain, and I'm glad I've actually started on it, because even though it had maybe around 9 horsepower and almost no get up and go, it still allowed me to learn on it quite well. I have to say, I've been riding it every day to work and back home, and it lasted me for maybe about 2 to 3 months. I ended up selling it in about 3 months time, but that's the fate of these motorcycles. They're little and they allow you to learn. I just wanted to scroll to technical data here and just see if I can maybe pull something up on this bike. Rating 60. I don't know what that means. Well, I guess it does mean that a lot of people, well, 66% of the people who come to the site kind of like this bike or whatever. So it is 125 cc cubic centimeters, or 7.61 cubic inches. It's a single cylinder 4-stroke, but I remember I had to change oil on it every 1,000 or so. I guess because it didn't actually have an oil filter, and somehow the oil channels work differently on this bike. So I lied to you, it's actually 13 horsepower, not 9. I mean, you probably wouldn't tell the difference. I couldn't. Torque on a bike is around 10 Newton meters, and let's see, compression 11 to 1. I remember the red line on that thing was not very high. It was, I think, around 11,000. It was redlining there, and the reason I remember actually is because I did take this beast on a highway, and I was redlining basically at supposedly cruising speeds. It was going to 110 kilometers an hour, and it would not go any faster than that, period. So, and I weighed maybe 200 now, probably less than 200 pounds, but that's just something to consider if you live in Canada, especially. So these bikes, they're dirt cheap nowadays, I'm sure, because the Honda nowadays they've introduced the new CBR 125R, which looks a lot better. I think it does. Let's look at it for a second. Actually, I'll close this out. So this is CBR 125R, year 2012. I'm sure 2013 looks the same. Black looks kind of nice. So the reason I think this bike looks okay to me, just because I actually owned one very similar to this, but it was not 125, it was actually 250. So that brings me to my second bike. Actually, let's take a look at the specs on this beast. Did they change anything? Did they change the engine at all? Probably not. I don't know if they actually talk about horsepower. Probably. Well, they should. I don't know. Maybe in data sheet. I don't see it right away. Don't want to waste time, but I'm on honda.ca right now and go to motorcycles there. I'm sure there's one for US or for your country where you're watching from. For your specific specs, sometimes bikes are tuned differently for different regions and different countries. Alright, let's take a look at the one I actually own currently, like this moment. I am on CBR 250R, and I'm not on the red one. In fact, my CBR is year 2011. And it's not red, it's actually probably this color. Yes. Well, no. See these silver parts on the bike? I don't have them. They're all black for me, and it looks a lot better with just black, plain black. But that's what it is, more or less. Let's see if I can actually get any... well, let's get the specs up. I was going to see if I can get any nicer pictures, I guess. I guess not on Honda's website. So this bike, for me, was definitely a big step up from what I owned before. In fact, I went to Niagara region to pick it up from basically a guy I found on local classifieds. And I bought it secondhand from him, but I didn't spend too much money on it. I spent $4,000 cash. I could have spent close to 5 taxes in from a dealer, but you know what? I thought, I'm not going to keep this bike for very long. I was right and wrong at the same time. I'm owning this bike now for about a year plus, maybe a year 2 months or so. So it's, well, actually it's, I don't think it's a year 2 months yet, so it's April, May, so it's a year and a month. I have this bike. So let's take a look. So it's 250 cubic centimeters. Compression ratio is 10.7 to 1. I believe it redlines at about 10,500 or so. It has a 1-cylinder. I'm not reading off this sheet. You can probably look through it fairly quickly, but it's a 1-cylinder engine and with a counterweight. Oh, look at the weight. It's 162 kilos. That's actually pretty good. It's very light. It's extremely nimble, very flickable, and I've actually installed Pirelli, put on the Pirelli Rosso 2 tires. They're really good. Not just like, they're really good on the street. I mean, I could have taken this bike to the track, but I never did. Well, one of the reasons being I don't have enough time to do that, and you know, that's just an excuse, I guess. But I do have a lot of fun in twisties. There's quite a few around where I live, so I don't complain too much. But these tires, they've served me really well already. Well, look at the tire sizes. The front is 110. It's atypical. It's not your standard 120 front tire, but you can find these fairly easily. and 140 for the back, not 160. But I got caught in a pretty bad rainstorm. Like the rain was so heavy that a lot of cars had to come to a complete stop on the side of the road. And you know what happens when it rains. I'm not sure about where you live, but where I live, if it starts raining, people just go nuts. They slow down. They put their, blinkers on. They put, all kinds of light in the car, the far light, and they blind you, and all kinds of nonsense, starts on the road as soon as it rains, even a little bit. So I was gunning it basically. As soon as I felt a couple of drops falling from the sky, I got caught on the highway, and I was gunning it. I still got caught though, and I mean I don't mind being wet, and I'm very happy about these tires. They held up so well. In fact, I did not feel any slippage, any discomfort, anything whatsoever. They were like, I felt I was on rails basically. Obviously, I wasn't leaning it too much, but that's definitely a point for Pirelli's Rosso 2 tires. In fact, I'll be buying them more often. They're dual compound, by the way. The softer compound on the sides and the harder compound sort of in the middle. Yeah, so the reason why I said I still own this bike is because I'm actually selling it. And I've put it on local classifieds. A couple of people came by, looked at it, nor here nor there, yeah, we like it, yeah, but we are still thinking. So I got a little bit tired of it, right? It's been a week now in classifieds, and it seems like you can get a new one now for 4Gs. Oh wow, you can get a new one for 3,800, which is ridiculous. And I was trying to sell mine for 4. Well, I guess it's 37. Well, 3,800 plus admin, plus delivery, plus all your taxes. Probably be like 4.7 or something. But honestly, realistically speaking, to sell mine for 4 grand, it's pretty tall order. Well, considering I bought it for 4, I still own some money on this bike. So what I did, right, I'm not going to get rid of it and give up motorcycling. I wanted to get myself into something else. And I always looked at the Ninjas, right? I always looked at the Ninja 650. It seemed like a reasonable step up for me. And ever since the new Ninjas came out in 2012, I'm talking about 650s, I thought they looked all right. They looked pretty cool. However, I actually got into like a Kawasaki dealership. Well, they also sell like a bunch of shit usually. There's no place, or at least not where I am, where there's only Kawasaki. They usually carry Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, and maybe even Honda sometimes. But I came into one of those places. I honestly, I hated the guts out of that place entirely. The sales staff was horrible, period. There's just no other word for it. But I couldn't really care too much for whatever they wanted to offer me or whatnot. But I got on one of these bikes, right? And I didn't feel comfortable for some reason. It looks really good on the picture, but when I got on it, I felt like the seat was a little bit too wide for me, and the handlebars were a little bit too much upright, or too upright. So I was like, I'm not feeling it, basically. I thought if I would lower the handlebars like over here, and the seat, maybe I'll get used to it or whatever. I mean, I'm not looking for a bicycle type of seat, obviously, but for some reason I just did not feel comfortable right away. And when you get on the bike, you either feel comfortable or you don't. That's your first gut feeling is what you should go by, a lot of times at least. That's it. That's what it is for me. But And after, well, that was 2012, now it's 2013. I did go back to a couple of other dealerships, checking out motorcycles in my spare time. If I'm waiting for something, I drop off my daughter for her classes, and I, you jump in because there are 2 hours to spare, and just take a look. And I never could get comfortable on this bike, and I really wanted to. So now that I'm considering buying a bike, I'm actually considering a 650. I'm not going to go for a Super Sport 600 or a Leader or a 750, like a Suzuki 750. In fact, Super Sport for me is like, I'm not ready for it. I'll just put it this way. I need to carry a passenger. I need to commute quite a lot. I spend maybe about 3 hours on the bike sometimes, like a day. And that's not canyon riding. It's straight up highway. A lot of highway, basically. So, for me, a 600 was not even an option. So with this in mind, I actually started doing a little bit more research. And I never ever looked at Suzuki's before. I don't know why. It just did not, it was not sort of the first thing I considered as a quality product or as something appealing to me. Kawasaki's always looked nice, like the motorcycles themselves. They are very sort of visually appealing, and a lot of people who are on YouTube, I can see their channels, and they do great reviews on these bikes and so on and so forth. So, and a lot of people say you can't go wrong with a, Kawi 650. They're great bikes, and I tend to agree with them. But I didn't own one, so it's hard for me to judge. So I started doing a little bit of research, and I stumbled upon this bike right here. Right, so that's a small picture. I guess I should dig out the one that actually looked at the dealership. But let's look at these specs. It's 2013 SFV 650 Gladius. Basically, it's a 2013 Gladius. It's all black here, and that's not the one that caught my attention. In fact, this is the one that's so blend you can't even tell what kind of bike it is, and you're automatically not interested. It's, first of all, it's a naked bike, but the sitting position on the bike is very similar to the Kawi 650. Alright, so let's take a look. It's 11.5 compression ratio. Obviously, all the bikes I'm considering are fuel injected, and they have all the bells and whistles. This has the Bandit twin, or improved twin, similar to like a Bandit, Suzuki Bandit. I'm just looking for a place where it says, so one more point, it actually says standard tires 120, 160. When Kawi, I think it has, if I can find that, let's see, ratios, I don't care for, brake, suspension, dimensions, performance, wheelbase, clearance, weight, length, no. Oh, let's look at the performance then. So maximum power, they claim 72 horsepower and 64 pounds of torque. Okay, so 72 horsepower, 60. Okay, let's take a look at the Suzuki. Where the heck is power? Well, they don't advertise power, but I've seen I've seen dynos of a brand new Gladius, and the dynos came up with 73 horsepower at the wheels, which means maybe 75, 76 at the crank. So it's pretty good. So I'm not actually concerned about horsepower. I'm just concerned about the handling and the looks at this point, because I have to live with the bike basically. One thing I'll miss if I do buy Suzuki, I'll miss the windscreen, and it's actually adjustable on the Kawi. So for me, riding on the highway, windscreen matters. But to be honest, I lived without the windscreen for so long on this little bike. This piece of windscreen work does not protect you from the elements, period. I mean, even if you tuck, it doesn't, really doesn't. So living without windscreen for so long, I could not care for a windscreen, to be honest. So one thing I want to do for you guys, I want to show you the bike I've seen at the dealership. This one right here. I don't know if it's a good picture or not. Let's just open it in a new tab, and maybe this one looks pretty awesome. But that's what it is, guys, right? In this picture, I think this picture does the bike a lot of justice. I've seen a lot of little videos here and there, and like I was never interested, and as soon as I showed up at the Suzuki dealership this morning, this bike caught my attention just like this. Just literally right away I was drawn to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe the front headlight that looks like a Ducati. Like, there's a lot of elements here that look like a monster, right? The Ducati monster I'm talking about. Front headlight, obviously the frame, it's freaking red. Even exhaust somehow, they've made it look cool. You it's an appealing bike. And I actually met one of the guys at the dealership. He was servicing his bike, and he owns one of these, and he told me he just put about 10,000 on his bike, and that's quite a lot in 2 years' time. So he didn't encounter any issues whatsoever, and he is loving it, absolutely loving it. So at this point, I may be going into Suzuki dealer, trade in my little baby Honda CBR, hopefully get $4,000 out of it, and get on this mother hopefully sooner than later. This to me is definitely a way to go. I wonder what you guys think. The reason why I'm uploading this, because I am going to be doing a little bit of vlogging while I'm riding, I guess. Alright, so let me know your thoughts. I have not considered any Super Sport, but these are the two I am currently looking at. They're in the same price range, they're in the same power category. The only difference is this is a bit more touring and this is a bit more street fighter. And from where I'm sitting, this looks just plain and simple awesome. Let me know. I'm very eager to know what you guys think. So I hope you guys are looking forward to see some of the videos I've shot with my GoPro last year. I've sold my GoPro actually since then, but I'm gonna get Sony Action Cam to replace it. I was riding this in twisties, and I have a couple of people basically crashed in front of me. I have a crash footage, which is not something you've seen on the internet because I'm the only one who has it. So I'll be posting it on my channel, and hopefully that will allow someone to learn on someone else's mistakes rather than repeat them, you know, yourself before you know. All right, hopefully that's good enough for a first video on motorcycles, and we'll be talking a lot more about my experiences, and there are quite a few in 4 years of me riding. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.